Arguably, you could spend the entire season suspending only chironomids and leeches under indicators and consistently take fish. In recent years, tiny microleeches have evolved, adding yet another dimension to this deadly presentation option. Bob Taylor's Boogie Man microleech is an excellent example of what a good microleech should be. Here are the materials you will need to tie the Boogie Man. So let's tie Bob Taylor's Boogie Man microleech. To the jaws of my Regal, I've got a straight eye scud hook, a number 10, which would be a little bit large, but it's just for demonstration purposes, but 10s, 12s, 14s, using some black 80 MFC thread. We're going to cover the hook shank, and at the front of the hook I've got a 7/64 bead for this number 10. If I was tying 12s or 14s, I'd be using a 3/32 bead. And now we're going to tie in some marabou. So I've selected a black strung marabou plume. I'm looking for a plume that has nice fine tips that'll move and breathe, but quickly progresses into barbs or barbules down each individual fiber of the marabou. This will provide a nice fuzzy body that's still quite thin. And then to align the tips, I've simply stood about 5/8 to an inch of marabou straight up from the stem. And I'm just going to strip gently once. Can't strip anymore. Fold it down onto what I haven't stripped, and then strip the balance off. And if I've done it correctly, moisten my fingers a little bit to gather and control, but my tips are nice and even. So I want to tie in a tail on this fly that's about the shank length long from the eye of the hook down into the very back of the bend here. We're just going to hold that up, pinch both the shank and the marabou together, carefully weave that thread around the hook point so I don't accidentally break or damage the thread, and then a couple of wraps. For the ribbing, I'm going to use some small red ultra wire. In the smaller sizes, 14s, 12s, you could even perhaps consider extra small. I'm just going to hold that, try and get the marabou up here, get the bead up to the front, and I want to tie in a length of wire that runs the length of the shank so I ensure a good firm tie-in. I'm just going to hold that right up along the side of the hook, run that tying thread forward a little bit, and I'm going to gather the marabou and just wind back and secure the marabou back to the base of the tail. So we've got the marabou secured back. Now we're just going to wind forward, securing the remainder of the wire along the hook shank up to the rear of the bead. Push that bead tight against the hook eye, and I'm going to come back about a bead width because this has got a little dubbed collar on the front of it. And I'm just going to grab my marabou, take one turn, give it a twist to kind of reinforce it, make those fibers stand out, and then just start wrapping the marabou forward, close touching turns right up to my tying thread. I'm going to tie it off, a couple wraps over top, one or two in front to lock it in place. Come in on top so I trim just the marabou and not the thread by accident. A couple more wraps, and then we're just going to take our wire, come forward and just sort of weave or zigzag that wire through the marabou fibers so we don't try not to mat any down. Right up, a couple over top, pull the wire back, a couple in front to lock it, and then pull and twist, break away the excess. Now we're just going to put a little collar of UV ice dub or regular ice dub in black. I'm going to use a method called touch dubbing. So let's dub the collar. You can do this by traditional just twisting the thread on, but a technique that works rather well is called touch dubbing. So I'm just going to take some loon dubbing wax here, and I'm just going to put a little light coating. I don't want this stuff dripping off of here. Right, we'll get that little bit off. It's got a tackiness to it. And I'm just going to take a pinch of the ice dub and just sort of touch it to the thread. Just on here. It doesn't look like much to start with. You can do a couple of applications. Just continue to touch. You've just tacked dubbing fibers right onto, these are small delicate flies, micro leeches, so we just want to make a small delicate collar. We don't want to have a big mess. And now all we've got to do to finish this is simply wind the dubbing forward to make that subtle little collar. And again, we can build up some more if we want. Do a couple of applications, like a little bit more volume in there. Again, the same technique. This is a method that works very well with fine fiber dubbings as well, such as Arizona semi-seal. I love to do this kind of technique when I'm doing European nymphs and those kind of things that have little dubbed collars right behind the bead on small flies. So we got that going, and again we can just wind that in, let the thread carry the dubbing right to where we want it. And now I'm starting to like that a little better. And just wind that right in. All that's left to finish the fly is to apply our head cement, which in this case is brushable crazy glue. Coated the thread, light coating, and let the thread carry that glue right into the base of the dubbing fibers, but doesn't mat any down. 3 to 5 turn whip finish. And that's all that's left to do. Just to brush our dubbing a little bit, flow it back along the fly, create a little bit of a, those fibers will flow back over the marabou. And there you have it. Deadly simple Bob Taylor's Boogie Man micro leech. Still a few fibers there. You can tie these 10, 12, 14, and of course you can mix up the color scheme all you want, but a deadly little fly. For more information on fly fishing, and stillwater fly fishing in particular, please visit my website at flycraftangling.com. Here you'll find lots of information, including fly fishing tips, fly patterns, articles, dates on my seminars and schools, along with links to my blog and mine and Brian Chan's online stillwater fly fishing shop. You can also visit our store directly at stillwaterflyfishingstore.com. Please join the conversation on my Facebook page or follow me on Twitter. Thanks for watching, and please take the time to watch my other tying videos as well.